Okay, final question today from Paradise Airways. Ever had a very unruly passenger, and how did you resolve it from the cockpit? I've had a lot of unruly passengers over the years. Most of it gets resolved very easily with the flight attendants. Every once in a while, I have to send back a little picture to somebody of a page in one of my manuals that has a finger pointing at them, and it has the words FBI right above it, and to remind them that when we land wherever they are, we're going to hand them over to the FBI. That was very effective back in the day. Here's the final story I had going from JFK to India. And we were about halfway to India, a very long flight, almost 16 hours to get there. And there was a drunk passenger that was giving my flight attendants nothing but grief. And they would get him calmed down. And then an hour later, he would get some more drinks. I don't know where he was getting them. And he would fire up again. And I finally just had enough of it. And so I was going back on my break. I put my hat on. I put my coat on. I walked back to this passenger, thinking about what I was going to say to him. And there he was with his wife and his children. It was very sad. This guy was totally drunk and acting badly in front of his family. And I walked up to him and I said, "Do you want to go to India?" And he said, "Yes." And I looked at his wife and I said, "Do you want to go to India?" "Yes." And I looked at all the other passengers. "You want to go? You want to go?" "Yeah." I said, "So do I." I said, "Look, if I hear one more word out of you, or I even hear your name mentioned one more time on this flight, I will drop you in one of the stands." And he said, "What do you mean stand?" And I said, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. He was an Indian guy. I said, Pakistan. I said, "I'll find the worst stand I can drop you in, and I will drop you and your family there, and then you can figure out how you're going to get to India." He stopped for a minute. Remember, he's drunk. He stopped for a minute. He folded his arms like this. He looked at me and he said, "I can see you are a man of respect." And I didn't say anything. I thought, you're right, I am. And he said, "You will have no more problems with me." And he folded his arms, closed his eyes, and went to sleep. And I said, "That's right, sir. I will have no more problems from you." And I didn't. So he responded well to that. We made it all the way to India and no further problems after that. That's the most probably verbal I've ever had to get with a passenger in 34 years of flying airplanes. It's really been a delight to fly the hundreds of thousands of people around over the years that I've had the opportunity to fly. Only one guy stood out in all of that, but I thought you'd appreciate that story. So that's how it got resolved. Well, now you know, and there you go. Thanks for your great questions. You guys have done a wonderful job. These were really insightful questions. Keep the deep, insightful questions coming because I love to answer your questions right here on Ask the Captain.